Last time, I told you all the pluses and minuses of working in a smaller company. Now, let's look at the FAANG or MANGA now and all the bigger, baddest companies product managers can work for. Let's begin. Hi, I'm Dr. Bart and I'll be your product management teacher. Today we are having a part 2 of a two-part video about comparing working for a small company to a bigger corporate one. Now, we defined the small company in our previous video as a place where there are like no more than 50 employees and you do what's best to achieve success. Now, for a bigger company, I think that the number doesn't really make that much sense to have like 50 plus, because it's not like the 51st person will make a big company. Here, we are looking at an environment where there are multiple products, multiple product teams, multiple development teams, which create a very complex web of dependencies, mutual work, and shaping a very, very big product. Picture FAANG, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, Microsoft, or it's now called MANGA because Facebook turned from, Facebook to Meta, and I can say that it's actually Microsoft in the MANGA, so product placement. Anywho, let's start with upsides again. You are working in a more predictable environment. Your company is most likely working stably, and even if you are in a smaller team working on a product that's only experimental and secure, you can be fairly secure that even if your initiative doesn't pan out, there always will be another team, another product that will take you in after your initial team doesn't succeed, whether it's due to your decisions or the fact that the idea was bad in the first place. You don't really need to worry about your employment as long as you are doing your finest job. As you are working in a big company, you won't be a one-size-to-fit-it-all. You can focus on your product management responsibilities and not be a part-time QA, part-time data analyst, and not doing anything it takes to get the product successful. You are supposed to be the greatest possible product manager, and that's it. Also, when working in such a big company, you have growth potential. There are different teams, different levels of seniority that you can realistically climb up while you develop your success, while you develop your skills, and it's getting better and better every year. But you have to stick around to get the fruits of your labor. It won't happen like day after day, right? Now, the stress will be lower because there will be processes and procedures that will make sure that any failure that can happen is prevented to a degree. Well, not everything will be covered, but most of the known previous issues will be preventable just by the way the process is built. Thus, failure can go unnoticed because bad decisions won't ever go into existence. So you have the system built around you for you to succeed regardless of your actions. That doesn't mean that you can be a very bad product manager and still succeed, but if you slip, there are guardrails you can hold on to and make sure that you only make good decisions. And finally, probably being in a corporation means a great system of benefits. That's not always the case with startups. Okay, so that's the good sides. What about the bad sides? Well, honestly, it can be frustrating. The speed of development will take ages. Planning the simplest thing will cause you unproportionally big amount of work. There'll be dependencies that you won't foresee, and everything will be complicated regardless of its initial perceivable simplicity. That's how it is. This is the process that helps to protect you and your team from mistakes, which has its upsides and downsides. And the process implies different rules you need to follow. You'll be having less creativity, you'll be having less freedom. So the process, again, can hinder you, but it's there to protect you, and it's all about how you put it in your head and how will you succeed with the process, not regardless of it. However, also, in comparison to smaller companies, your developers might not be as passionate because there will be just cogs in a bigger machines, and it's not the same if you get a small product and you see it from its infancy and then you see it grow. It can be a little bit more like a 5 to 9 work situation, but again, it depends on the individuals. Speaking of limited freedom, you will most likely report to long chain of managers that have the ability to say no to what you want to do, that you might need approval from, or at least feel obliged to share your decisions with. This is not a bad thing, actually. I mean, in my situation, I'm really happy to hear input from a more experienced person and make sure that I'm doing the best choice possible. I had an immense pleasure to talk to Manik Gupta recently in company, who is basically the product director behind Uber and Google Maps. And then I showed him my idea on how to develop my product, had his approval, and it felt great. But that's because at least I have the luck of having very good managers around me, very talented ones who inspire me. But if you have bad managers around you, it can cause lots of frustration and feeling like the whole company is against you. And, I think even on this channel, I said many times that people don't change jobs, they change their managers. So it won't happen in a smaller company where you only have like the company owner above you, but something to really consider when going to a more corporate environment as a product manager. Finally, be ready not to talk to your clients directly. Those clients, users will usually be just numbers inside your analytics. And by design, you shouldn't even consider any individual opinion of a user client because it's a single drop in the ocean. You can look for inspiration there, but not for direct backlog items. So let's ask the question, which one is better? Again, it doesn't matter. There is no real big differentiator between small and big companies. Those have its quirks, but it all comes down to people around you. It's always a throw of a dice of who you meet, what will be the process, and while I presented upsides and downsides of both sizes of companies because I'm being asked a lot about it, it's always a gamble when you start a new job anywhere, like starting a new relationship very quickly without having time to date. That's all it is. So if you like the people you talk to during the interview process, if you see smiling faces in the office and there's good energy all around you and there are good opinions on the product, just go for it and don't care about either of my videos, which is hilarious to say after spending 20 minutes listening to me talking about those differences. But this is knowledge that I gathered over many, many years of doing this job in both sizes of companies. And if you want to have more insights, more knowledge from those hard years of work, please check out my Udemy course or Skillshare course that I have released. Check out future videos, like and subscribe, come back for more, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!